Hello Eternum and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news, and this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the Marauders of Norivana managed to assault the vault and capture the financial capital of Windsward. KOTT News were on the scene with Governor Ramgam immediately following the fight. Congratulations on your victory here in Windsford, successfully capturing the vault and becoming the new security guards of the capital's financial interests. How does it feel, and how do you think it went out there?
John, it feels really good. It feels really good, John. That was an insane fight by HPM as always. I'm really glad they're on the server. They make amazing competition.
Is there anybody in particular on your team that you might want to highlight tonight?
I have a list. First off, shout out Dawn Guard guys. Shout out Schmeckelmeister for shot calling. Shout out Bamboo Banana. Shout out all the other AoE healers. Shout out Proud Munch. Shout out Sape. Shout out 604. Shout out Places CMC coming back. Shout out Nori for being the best the strat giver. Shout out Area 52. Shout out everyone. Holy, there's too many people to list. Shout out Jax. I miss him. He comes home from England soon. I miss him.
Reporting on the earlier outcomes, starting in First Light, where we spoke with Order of Chaos Press Secretary. Congratulations on your victory here in First Light, keeping yourselves in position as Spice Lords yet again. Would you care to comment on how the fight went?
Yeah, this was another good one. There were familiar faces on the battlefield again, although some of the faces that were fighting alongside me today, I'm used to seeing on the other side of the battlefield. And then some of our enemies today, I remember them being Covenant.
Yeah, there's a lot of people coming to the science side of things lately, trying to use reason to discover the secrets of the island. Is there anybody whose efforts out there you might want to highlight?
You know, I think he doesn't get to do as many of these interviews as he'd like, but Lord puts in a lot of work into these wars. I think he goes out there and he picks some fights so we start them, and then he comes over here and he fills the roster so we can fight them. And so he's not here to do this interview because of all the work he does. So I think shout out to Lord.
In Weaver's Fen, Gusto and the boys retain control of the Peat Moss Bog. We asked them about tonight's roleplay experience. Congratulations on your victory here in Weaver's Fen. They got through the gate, but no further. The flag stands tall. How do you feel it went out there?
It went great, John, honestly. Everyone we had were a bunch of soldiers. We really appreciate it. Role players will always prevail. Just remember that.
Anybody whose role-playing efforts you would like to highlight?
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to HBM. You know, those guys came through to help us out in the pinch. It's nice to see them. Usually, probably the last month and a half, it's been yellow versus green. So it's really nice to see purple come in the mix, and then we can actually, you know, be friends again with yellow and have a good time out there. Because those guys are a bunch of good guys, and we like to war with them.
Shout out to our homies in Dodgers as well.
Hell yeah. Ben, Hungs, you guys are always welcome on wars. Bunch of G's.
A nail-biter in Ebonscale inside the fort for the entire second half, but Camelot Dodgers won out and granted us a post-match interview. Yeah, a bit of a nail-biter. They got in the gates about, 15, 17 minutes left to go, but you held them off. I only saw one real strong push, so good job there.
They had a couple really strong pushes, John. We were trying out a lot of people that are newer to the war scene in this war, but overall it was a really fun war. Excellent. Anybody whose efforts out there you might want to highlight? Yeah, I want to highlight Plantry's efforts. He did a really good job locking down a gate today in the war. I also want to shout out to Huang the Zong. He's the governor of our company. He has COVID, and his voice is about as raspy as a dirty old gecko. And he still came in. He troopered through for us, and he shot called the war. I'll tell you, and I don't want you to cut this out, Huang, that if something happens to you, I'm gonna take all the gold and run, Huang. And that's just, I'm just keeping it $150 with you. I need better gear. I want better gear. I was thinking about putting together a Dex kit. I was thinking about maybe getting a little place to retire up in Brimstone Sands. Checking in on the one-day Doppler radar forecast, and we can see it's going to shine on all day again.
but look out after sundown when the temperatures drop and emboldened invasion forces strike at 30% of the island. 3 more lineup submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Up first, the Syndicate forces of Eviction Noticed assail the Marauders of Nirvana for control of the master fishing port town of Reekwater. Eviction Noticed forces seek to extend their empire, assaulting their neighbors along the southeastern coast of the island to secure a stable food source prior to the winter. Nirvana forces have been spending less and less time out in their secret fishing spots and more time familiarizing themselves with the strategies of their competitors. Then, the Marauders of High Wind Dragoons assault the Covenant forces of Tropical X for control of the rain-drenched region of Morningdale. High Wind's Dragoons making a name for themselves across the island, showing up in the Marauder rotation more and more often, this time in the northernmost region of Morningdale. But the forces of Tropical X are no pushovers when it comes to defending one of their most sacred of holy lands. Abutting the Northern Death Wall, they'll fight to the end, for it all. Later, the Zealots of Here Be Nori attack the Marauders of Nori Dodgers for Crown and Kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. The not-so-newcomers of Here Be Nori march up to the bluff and declare themselves to be the latest heir apparent to the throne, once again donning a store-bought crown. The defenses of Nori Dodgers are standing by to fight out at the fort, but will there be a peaceful negotiation in the newly anointed throne room instead? We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.